Alrighty, guys, welcome into the AfterSchrock. This is the part of the program where everything that didn't fit somewhere else gets chucked in together, and we kind of rapid fired through a lot of stuff. And this time of year we're naturally a little slower in the service centers going into March and April. As people get their tax returns, they tend to buy computers and stuff. But we don't make a lot of money on computers. It's good for cash flow. If you're a small business owner, you know the difference between profitability and cash flow. It's good for cash flow, but repair work is always a little light this time of year. So if you have a computer that needs some repair work, now is a great time to bring it in. I kind of alluded to that at the end of the program there. All three shops have more open bench spots than full ones right now. So the turnaround times are awesome. So I would recommend if you need something to get that in. I'm going to give everyone a couple moments to get joined to the program here as I email the winner of the gift certificate over to Ariel so that she can get this certificate out. Some people give us fake phone numbers. It's kind of funny. So when Ariel tries to call them, then we can't give them the certificate because we don't ask for your address. And then they call back to the service center like weeks later, like, I never got my certificate. I was a winner. Like, is your first name Mark by any chance? Because we had a Mark, we had a Bill, we had a Steve. It's kind of funny to match it all up. All right, so this is the AfterSchrock. Stuff we didn't get to during the program. There is a whole new Intel vulnerability out. Just like Spectre, just like Meltdown. Those were two big ones last year. There's a whole nother one. Exact same thing. It basically allows a bad guy to see and do anything they want with your computer. Intel will patch it, and when they patch it, it will probably result in you losing more speed in your computer again, because this is a hardware vulnerability, and you can't fix a hardware vulnerability with software. You have to fix it with new hardware or disable the offending hardware. Because this is a vulnerability present in all current made Intel chips going all the way back in time, they can't really replace all of those, so they're going to have to turn off whatever hardware is the offending hardware, which they don't put extra hardware in there for no reason, so that means it's going to be slower. Conversely, I will point out, once again, that AMD processors are not impacted by this vulnerability at this time. So the Ultimate Upgrade, for example, that has the AMD Ryzen chip, both laptop and desktop models, starting at $499, is not vulnerable, okay? So you can pick that up and have a great day with it. So there's your heads up there. There's also a whole bunch, as I mentioned during the show, of Intel pretty much all of the Intel graphics drivers. The Intel storage matrix, you probably never even seen that, but if you ever installed a motherboard like Dennis and some of the guys out here that do computer work, the Intel storage matrix has been deemed unsafe and you should not install that. Also, some crazy weird thing I've never heard of called the Intel USB 3.1 creator. Don't run that either. It's vulnerable too. All right, so good morning, Carolyn. I heard you called the service center today. You had one of my new techs, and he was like, I got a call today from Round Rock, Texas. No, he said, I got a call today from Carolyn Lloyd. I'm like, yeah, from Round Rock, Texas. And he's like, yeah, from Round Rock, Texas. How did you know that? Like, oh, me and Carolyn go way back. Come on. All right, let's see. Brian Olson, AfterSchrock seems even better. Maybe it's because I ended the other stream and started another one. I mean, I don't think Facebook streams were intended to go like hours, I think they were intended to be like quick little like update. Oh, I don't think they were meant to be long form, but I don't know. And who knows how much longer we'll be able to do this. We might have to end up doing our own stream, which would be kind of scary, but we could do it, but it'd be scary. But yeah. Let's see. I did the SSD upgrade last month. If I did the Ultimate Upgrade, can we use that drive in the new machine? Absolutely, Alan. Yes, we can. We can move your hard drive over to the new machine. It's in many cases the exact same hard drive that, the Ultimate Upgrade comes with a 120. So if you got like a 240, or if you got a 120, it'll be the same 120 in the Ultimate Upgrade. The discount isn't too great for doing that, but we can do that for you. That was one of the big selling points, is we can move that solid state over for you to the new computer. Now the trick is, can we move the program? Can we just take the solid state out and stick it in the new computer? Most of the time, no. Most of the time we have to back it up, we have to wipe it, we have to put the drive in the computer and then install Windows, and then we can do a data transfer for you. So to answer your question, yes, we can use that drive in the new computer and save you a little bit of money there. Because yeah, why buy the same drive twice 2 months after you buy it? Good morning, Winston, how are you? The official audio tester of Compute This. All righty. 1T. Oh, speaking of 1T, 1G actually. We made the jump at home today. Yesterday we went to. I called Cox because our cable bill is just getting nuts. We were paying over $300 a month. We have the bundle. We have the cable TV, we have the phone, and we have internet. We have the higher speed regular internet, not Gigablast. The only reason we have the phone is because it gives you a bundle discount. We actually don't even have a phone hooked up in the house because when we did have one hooked up, it just rang all the time with robocalls. So we just unhooked it because we don't use it anyway. So we have phone service to the house that we don't actually use. Yeah, so we're like, okay, the internet was just dropping off and dropping off. We installed this Ring video doorbell, and I have a $300 router because the kids in the house are always streaming to like 3 or 4 devices at a time, and we have our smartphones, and then there's all the video or all the connected devices in the house. We needed a boss router for that, and so I bought like a $300 top of the line router, and the internet's dropping off in the house, and it has been for a while. My wife always complains about it. Lovely Kimberly has a thing with electronics where she zaps them somehow, but she's like, the internet's down again, and I pick up my phone, works fine for me. She's like, But no, it's not in her head though. It is dropping down. The Ring Video doorbell, out of 100, the doorbell will score the strength of your Wi-Fi and your internet connectivity. And we noticed when we're looking at the video, it was all choppy. And we're like, why is it so choppy? We're streaming this over like one of Cox's higher speed connections, and the camera feeds from my service center aren't choppy. The only difference is this is uploading on our connection. And so we look into it, and we get a 53 out of 100 score for our internet. And I'm sorry, but I'm paying over $150 a month for internet. I should not be getting a 50% score. What's going on? So we call Cox, and we sit down and figure out Gigablast is available in our area. If you're not familiar with Gigablast, it's basically gigabit internet. It is wickedly faster than the internet you have right now. Like when you first got high-speed internet, opening a web page suddenly went from like chunk, 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 chunk to like, poo. Loading a full HD movie went from now to bam, done. That's how much faster it is. It's crazy. And that's a whole movie. And what we found out was because Cox, if you don't have Gigablast, they have a cap, a data cap. And because my son has an Xbox, and there's always big updates for the Xbox, and I'm always remoting into work, which is high intensity stuff, and the kids are always streaming, we always exceed our data cap. So we were blowing through $50 additional in data cap every single month. So what we ended up figuring out is if we buy Gigablast and we pay $50 more on top of Gigablast for the unlimited Gigablast, we're actually paying, like, we're saving $13 a month on our bill, and we're getting Gigablast. We're like, well, this is stupid. We should let's get Gigablast. So we did, but we had to buy a new modem as a result. And so great. So we have to buy this new modem. It's a Super DOCSIS 3.1 modem. It's got, all of them have built-in routers, which I absolutely hate. I mentioned I have a $300 router. I don't want the built-in router that comes with the Aris modem. That's stupid. So I'm like, great. Well, let's at least buy the better one for $30 more. That's the Netgear Nighthawk brand. We'll get that one. I could take the $300 router, put it in access point mode as like a booster in the house, so we could have a second router boosting the wireless signal, so we could get it out by the backyard and everything. But yeah, so that's going to be my fun project this afternoon as I get to set up the Gigablast. My son, I came home yesterday, and I was just popping in for a minute because we're going out with some friends, and I showed it to my son who was playing Fortnite, and I'm like, this is internet that's 10 times faster than what you have now. And he goes, so wait, that basically means no lag, right? I'm like, yeah, no lag. And he goes, you're going to set that up now, right? I'm like, no, I'm not. He's like, All right, questions. Let's see if any of you got some questions to ask here. I'm going to scroll down. All right, come on, scroll. There we go. The only problem with the stream this morning was during the FEMA phone call. Just saying. Government intervention. I don't know. The FEMA guy was nice to hear from him. I mean, because it's easy. It's really, really easy with a big federal agency like FEMA to be like, "Ooh, FEMA, yeah, get out of here, government." And before they were prohibited from helping, I had no idea that the laws were changed to allow them to help now, to actually help. which is great. So yeah, it was 1-800-621-FEMA. So if you have flood damage, you can call FEMA and ask for help. The disaster declaration has been made. I think the request has been made for help. So at least it puts you in the queue to get some assistance when the time comes. Or if you need something now, I don't know if what they're actually doing, but again, your local options are the best. Don't count on the federal government to come in and save your biscuits. You can count on your church. You can count on your neighbors. You can hopefully count on the businesses and service providers in the community to help. But the federal government, is there as a resource as well, potentially. All right. So one would need to add the Windows update cost to that new Ultimate Upgrade 2, correct? Great question. So it takes 14 business days to get the Ultimate Upgrade, right? So that takes us 14 business days to build it, test it, get it to you. That's 3 weeks. Now this update is supposed to hit sometime in April. So in theory, if we're talking 3 weeks and you bought it today, that would mean your computer would be ready, because it's business days, roughly the week of the 8th of April. So that's the second week of April. So if it comes out in the first week of April, then yes, it would have it already installed. If it came out in the second week of April, no, it would not. Basically, the computers are fully updated to the point they can be when we give them to you. So when you buy a new computer, we update everything so that it's ready to rock and roll, and then we drop it off the bench and call you to pick it up. It's updated to that point. I suppose if you really wanted to be tricky about it, you could order it. You could say, hey, I don't even want to pick it up till the end of the month. Put that in the notes. Then we would procrastinate your build and get other people done ahead of you that wanted theirs. And then at the end of the month, the update would obviously be out, and then we could install it for you. It would save you $50. But it also delays the delivery of your computer by weeks. So most people pay the $50 extra to get it quicker. They don't pay $50 extra to slow it down. So save $50 to slow it down. But yeah, you could certainly do that. But we recommend the safe upgrade on all of your computer devices. In fact, I didn't bother to check before I went on the air how many of those we have left. And we have some flexibility here, obviously. We can add more. We put 500 available. 500 is a good number. I think last time we ended up selling around 700 or 800, or no, it was closer to 1,000. I can't remember. The first time we did it, we made 1,000 available, and we sold not quite 1,000. The second time we made less available because there were issues. People had problems, and we had a tough time responding to that many people. So we made fewer of them available, and we sold out. So right now, I believe we started with 550, and I'm loading the page right now. And we have 292 left in stock. And so basically, this is the first week it's been out. So we've sold almost half, a little less than half in the first week. And so now what's going to happen is people who bought one are going to start to realize they need one for each computer. That's why I kept saying that during the program. You cannot use it on more than one computer. You need one upgrade for each computer you want to upgrade or that you care about, because we warranty each installation. So people who bought one are going to be like, oh, fiddlesticks, I bought one, but I needed 3. And they're going to come back and buy 2 more. And that's when the quantity starts dropping really dramatically. Also, we haven't seen the business owners hit yet, where business owners are like, oh, small business owners typically buy their computers, with home operating systems on them, if they have less than 5 computers, and because they save money. And then they get stuck with these kind of updates then happening like that on a business computer, knocks out your QuickBooks computer, you're dead in the water. Well, as a result, you get safe upgrade. You can have that upgrade done safely for you. And if there's a problem with it, we get in there and do the upgrade for you manually, or we have you bring it into the service center so we can do it in the shop through a flash drive. It's a lot faster, actually. Let's see. What are the different levels of Gigablast service? Well, to my understanding, there's Gigablast, which is gigabit internet, and there's Gigablast Unlimited. The Gigablast internet service from Cox has a limit of 1 terabyte of transfer of bandwidth a month. If you go over that, the overages are sold in small packages for $10 a package, with a maximum of a $50 monthly expenditure on overages. We were hitting $50 in overages every single month. So it made sense for us to spend the $50 and just buy the full package. It just made sense to do that so we don't have the overages, and it was still cheaper than what we were spending now. And Gigablast is available in a lot of areas. I mean, I live in, I'll say rural Papillion. We're off 114th and Highway 370, so we are we're outside of Papillion City proper. We're not technically in the city of Papillion. We probably will be in the next couple of years as they annex their way out. The city is waiting for the county to finish building all the infrastructure. Then they're going to annex the infrastructure. So basically, we're still waiting to get annexed basically by the city. But when that happens, then we'll be in the city. So we're not even technically in Papillion, and we have access to GigaBlast. So just about everybody in the Omaha Metro does. I know in Lincoln we have Allo. Allo is providing gigabit internet there, very similar deal. So pretty much everybody's got it. Pretty much everybody's upgrading to it. But if you stream stuff at home, GigaBlast will allow you to literally cut the cord. They had some really stupid commercials though back in the day. I don't know if you remember. They got a guy who looked a lot like I forget his name. The guy who played the dad in Meet the Fockers, the comedy show. I can't. Anyway, so they found an old guy that looked a lot like him. So it kind of looked like him in the commercial, and he had on like artificial, like an exoskeleton set of hips, and his granddaughter wanted him to dance, and he couldn't. But then he got Cox GigaBlast and an exoskeleton that has absolutely nothing to do with GigaBlast, and he was able to dance with his granddaughter now. You're like, people called in like, how do I get the exoskeleton? We're like, that doesn't exist, but I saw it on TV. We're like, oh my gosh. Another one was Cox had a commercial with like, okay, 3D printing. 3D printer files are the teensiest, tiniest little files you could download. They're much smaller than a picture. Then you load them in a 3D printer and you print something using the instructions, the text instructions that the computer reads from this file. So it's like a 30 kilobyte file to print like a Yoda. It's not a lot of data. But Cox says, ooh, what's a cool new tech thing? 3D printing. What's a cool new tech thing? GigaBlast. Well, guess what? With GigaBlast, you can 3D print Cheetos. And yes, there is 3D printing food stuff. You can 3D print food. It doesn't taste very good, and it's very limited in what you can do. And no, GigaBlast has absolutely nothing to do with it. So they have this commercial of this kid 3D printing Cheetos and eating them, and everyone's like, I want GigaBlast so I can 3D print my Cheetos. And we had people call the service center asking, what do they need to get so they can 3D print their own food? And we're like, no, you can't do that yet. You wouldn't want to do that if you could. Can you imagine like your HP ink cartridge goes bad after 30 days? When does your HP protein cartridge go bad? Oh man, I'm out of protein again. I can't print me that steak I was going to eat. Biscuits. I'm out of biscuits too. The biscuit cartridge is empty. Darn it. What am I going to eat? All I have left is this stupid asparagus cartridge. Nobody eats that. It's going to be so stupid. So no, you can't print food. You can't get exoskeletons with GigaBlast, but if you have a lot of people streaming in your house and you want internet that is immediately responsive, GigaBlast will get that for you. And I'm talking, when I say immediate, I mean like, what a joke immediate. Like faster than at work immediate. Because for businesses, of course, the high speeds are much more expensive. All right, Brad says, will the kid be able to 3D print his chemo treatment in a few months after eating homemade Cheetos? Yeah. Great question. All right. So let me see. What else do we got here? We mentioned this briefly on the show, and I don't know that they're connected or related in any way, but there were several cloud outages this week. More and more people depend on the cloud. In fact, Schrock is depending on the cloud for more and more stuff as well, because you can't compete without depending on the cloud anymore. One of the things, I haven't talked about this in the regular show too much, but the Internet of Things push is not I should say the home automation thing. We're doing that at my house. And as I do it at the house, it's opening up possibilities for me at the shop. And I'm sitting down and talking with our developers at Schrock. And what they're telling me is, oh yes, if something is enabled for Alexa, that means it has a web hook. And if it has a web hook, that means that we can write a website to integrate with that product to make that product do things. So basically, you integrate the product with Alexa, we integrate the website with Alexa, and now through your website, we can make things happen in your shop. For example, some of the artificial intelligence systems that we are designing, these are not developed yet, we're designing these right now. We're putting the data points in place, let's put it that way. We're installing smart switches in the service center. We're installing Alexa spots in the service centers. We're installing magnetic door locks in the service centers. We're installing Oh, what are some other good ones? I'm trying to think of other stuff. But anything that we have to turn on and off or mess with, we're installing automation for. And the idea behind this is, imagine a scenario where an employee walks into the service center. The service center detects that that employee has entered the service center and clocks them in. So it logs them in, clocks them in. You don't have to punch in anymore. You can't punch in early because it knows when you're supposed to be there. So if you show up too early, it'll punch you in at the appropriate time. Punch you out when you leave too. It will turn the lights on when you walk in the door. At 10 o'clock, it'll turn on the open sign and unlock the front door, provided there is an employee in the building who is clocked in. So did you follow all that? Those are all things right now that human beings in my service center have to remember to do. Now, you might think, okay, you got to turn on the open sign, you got to unlock the door, you got to clock in, right? So every single week, there are at least 12 missed time clock punches that Ariel has to deal with. 12 times where an individual has forgotten to punch in or punch out, or they punched out for lunch and never punched back in. And so we don't want to short their check. So then we have to get a hold of this person. It's usually their day off when it's payroll day. We have to call them and be like, hey, what time did you leave last Tuesday? I don't remember. And so she has to spend an hour of her day fixing 12 missed time clock punches. Automate that. Not only do my employees not waste their time punching in and punching out, which granted is going to save you what? Let's just say 30 seconds a punch. Okay, and that's a lot, but let's just say that. So a minute, 2 minutes a day tops. 15 employees, 2 minutes a day. That's half an hour of labor a day. Add that up over a year. All of a sudden, that counts as money. The hour that every week Ariel has payroll to do, and every week she has an hour of time clock fixing to do. So that's real money in the course of the year. That's 52 hours a year that she spends fixing payroll that she doesn't need to spend fixing payroll. Now, let's take it a step further. Now that we have everything automated and the time clock punches are all automated, why does Ariel even have to do payroll? Right? Why doesn't payroll do itself? It's just sending an email to the payroll company with the hours. That's a programmable task. So now you can see how we're saving so much time. We're saving labor. And then Ariel can take that saved time and redirect that toward calling customers who have Drive Advisor installed on their computers and have their hard drive failing and need a heads up that their hard drive is going bad. Maybe they didn't get the email. We actually call customers and let them know, hey, your hard drive is failing. Your C drive is going bad on your HP desktop. Just want to let you know if that's something you want to fix, we're here for you, but it's going bad. It's going to fail. You should make sure that you're not depending on that for anything. Oh, wow, thanks. It gives us time to be better technicians and to be more service oriented when we're not bogged down with mundane tasks. How many times have you driven down the road and seen an open sign on at like 2 a.m. somewhere? You're like, somebody forgot to turn that off. That doesn't happen when it's automated anymore. Magnetic door locks. This is an interesting one because this requires full automation because you don't want to unlock the door on a schedule, like a dumb schedule, like 10 o'clock, unlock the door, because what if an employee doesn't show up to work for whatever reason? What if it's a snow day? What if you canceled that day because of flooding or something? You don't want the door to unlock, right? So once you get the time clock function taken care of, you can set the door locks up for automation. Now take this a step further. Let's say there's an emergency. Let's say you're in a situation where there's an active shooter in the area, and for whatever reason, he's coming toward Schrock Innovations, right? Alexa, take Omaha into lockdown mode. And immediately that we have a pre-programmed scenario where that immediately magnetically locks all the doors in the building so that nobody can get in or out. Of course, there's a button to get out. If you want to get out, you hit the button and it opens the door. You can't lock people into a burning building, right? It automatically locks the doors. It automatically sends a text message to 911 saying that the Omaha Service Center at this address has entered into lockdown mode. There may be an emergency in progress. Please contact the service center at 402-934-9423 for details. Yes, you can text 911 now. And all that can happen automatically. Boom. It automatically start recording the camera feeds. It can send me a push notification to my phone saying there is a lockdown situation in the Omaha Service Center. Do you want to load the cameras? Yes. What's going on in Omaha? Record. Oh, golly, this is bad. So there's all kinds of, there's a bunch of neat stuff that you can do once you have this all automated. And that's just the stupid mundane stuff. We haven't even talked about the stuff behind the scenes that we can automate for customer communication so that we seamlessly communicate with customers. We do our best to do that now, but it's a manual process with manual. I take paper notes on every data recovery I work on, and I try to call every customer at least once a week with an update. Sometimes I just run out of time. Wouldn't it be great if there was just, if I could enter the notes into a system, and then when there is an update, like it will just say, new notes have been added to your data recovery job. If you'd like to review them, click here. And it's just an explanation of what I'm doing at that moment in time. It's like a real-time look into the data recovery lab into your job. Wouldn't that be great if we were fixing your computer and you didn't have to call to ask how it was going? Most people don't call because we get them done so fast. But as we enter notes to the computer, to the work order, you could actually log into your AfterSchrock account in real time and look at the notes that we're adding and see the process of your computer being repaired. Kind of like tracking your pizza, you know? You could track your computer repair through the process. These are all things no other computer repair company has. These are all things that all these integrations, I have been spending a lot of time thinking, okay, so we want to open a service center in Des Moines. And I know some of you watching right now are in Des Moines or the Des Moines or surrounding area. We want to open in Des Moines. Now we got a curveball because we weren't expecting to have to rebuild the Lincoln Service Center this year. But we're rebuilding the Lincoln Service Center, then we're going to do Des Moines next. When we build Des Moines is a 3-hour drive from Omaha. So if a 4-hour drive from Lincoln. So if I'm in a situation where I am at the Lincoln Service Center and something goes south in Des Moines and I need to be there, I am 4 hours away. I may as well be a day away. What can I do? How can I monitor? How can I make sure that when I'm not in Des Moines, my employees in Des Moines aren't sitting around and 3D printing their own Cheetos? You know, how do I manage a service center, especially with newer employees that require more management than, you know, veteran employees do? How do you do that from 3 hours away? Well, we found these amazing cams. They're called Wyze, W-Y-Z-E. These Wyze cams. The Wyze Pan and Tilt is available on Amazon for like $40. And the Wyze Pan and Tilt camera has an SD card you can put in it. There's no monthly charges, no cloud services, anything like that. It has an SD card you can pop in the bottom if you want it to record. That's it. And from my phone now, I can remote into the cameras, and it's Alexa enabled. So if I have my Alexa Show or my Kindle or my Alexa Spot, I can say, Alexa, I shouldn't say this. I should say a word. Show me the Omaha Service Center middle camera. And it shows it. Or Alexa, show me the Des Moines Service Center front desk. And it shows it. So basically, I can voice command my way through managing the service center. It's pretty cool. If there's a situation where, and this is the things as a business owner you have to think of, you know, oh, forget this place. Store will never know if we close up early for the day, you know, and they all just leave. What do you do, right? How do I handle that? Great. What happens if your employees all walk out and just leave this place unlocked and we have customers' computers in there? Wouldn't it be nice for me to be able to at least lock the door remotely so that I could get there in 3 hours or get a staff member there? And these are all things you have to think about when you're in business. You know, when we open a new service center, it was kind of funny. I found a photo strip. We had a photo booth when we opened the Omaha Service Center. As one of the gimmicky things that we did to draw people in to say, come say hi. And there was a photo strip of the original Omaha staff. And do you know that none of them are with us anymore? And I'm sure the same thing will happen in Des Moines. You know, people change jobs. People move on. Well, wow, 3 hours away. This is and then Des Moines is a test for opening service centers in places like Overland Park or St. Joe or Denver or Minneapolis or a rapid expansion, for example. We have some ideas on that too. We've got to have systems in place that will allow experienced technicians not only to help guide the inexperienced technicians through the proper way. Why aren't you wearing your AfterSchrock shirt today? You know you can't wear a hoodie over the top of your AfterSchrock shirt. If you see one of my employees with a hoodie or another shirt on, I came in the other day and one of my employees, no joke, had a magic mushroom hoodie on over his AfterSchrock shirt while he was talking to a customer. And I'm like, I get that we're in a whole new world from when I was young. I'm a Gen Xer, all right? So my gut reaction is put down your cell phone, take off the magic mushroom hoodie, and put your knuckles on the table for the ruler, buddy, because you're getting punished for that. Don't let it happen again. Now, the world has changed since then, right? Hey, I need you to lose the magic mushroom hoodie. It's not cool to wear drug paraphernalia at work. Really? Really? Really, dude? Yeah, like totally. Oh, whoops, that's Gen Y talk. For sure, for sure. Surely, dude. So yeah. Oh, and by the way, you can't wear anything over your Schrock shirt. If you want to wear a long sleeve shirt under it, you can. But you got it. We all need uniformity of look. That's what we do the shirts for, guys. We had Schrock hoodies made. When were those available? Well, before you were employed here. Sorry, there aren't any left. We have to make some more. But we make these things on a monthly basis, you know. So we'll make some. Can you turn that down a little bit? It's like the Church of the Air is like. I feel like I'm screaming over Jesus. It's not. That's all right. No, it was just that moment when it was like the pipe organ was like, wow. So anyway, so if you see my employees wearing stuff they're not supposed to wear, you know, you can correct them. You're not supposed to be wearing that hoodie. You know that, right? Thor says that. All right. How does it know when each employee came through the door? Good question, Carolyn. Because each employee will be required to run a Schrock Innovations employee app on their phone. The employee app is only active when the employee is scheduled to work because the system knows the work schedule. The employee app is actually made by Schrock employees, so it is a transparent app. There won't be any monitoring going on when the employee is not supposed to be working. So by monitoring, what do I mean? We're going to geotag where the employee is at. We can do that a number of different ways. Obviously, if you have location services enabled on your device, we can use your GPS sensor to pinpoint your position and know when you're within 9 feet of the service center. The second thing is we ask that, you know, we provide you with free Wi-Fi in the service center, employees. Please join the Wi-Fi when you walk in the door. If your phone is suddenly on the Schrock Wi-Fi, then we know you're in the building, and we can correspondingly say you're clocked in. So that's the plan. It'll have some other benefits too. So for example, if I have an employee who, okay, let's say the employee is supposed to work at 10. App activates at 9:45 and geo-targets the employee's position and realizes the employee is still in bed. Or more accurately, that's kind of creepy. We don't know that the employee is in bed. We know that the employee is a sufficient distance from the service center that they will not be able to be at the service center in time for their 10 o'clock shift to start. So push notification to employee's phone. Bada bing, are you going to be late or are you going to be sick today? Please respond late or sick. They respond with a text message, late or sick. Okay, they respond sick. We know what skill set this employee has. We have junior technicians, we have senior technicians, we have network technicians, we have Mac technicians. So we know what skill set this employee brought to the mix, and that's what that service center needs to have replaced that day. What other employees do we have in the company that are within a geographical area who are also scheduled to work today who could fill that gap without leaving a corresponding gap in another service center? This is all AI stuff. The computer will literally find an employee, ding that employee's phone and say, please report to the Omaha Service Center today. Instead of the Papillion Service Center, we need you to cover for Kyle, who is out sick today. Or if you're going to be late, then from an HR perspective, it keeps track of sick days. It keeps track of tardiness. When it comes time for an employee review, I will have the ability to create an actual like database enumerated score, not only of your productivity, and sales and all these other things that you look at as a business owner, but also how do you come to work on time? How many shifts have you covered for other people? How many positive Google reviews have you received that have mentioned your name? That's why I say if you guys are leaving Google reviews for my staff, please leave their name in the review. We're going to be monitoring that automatically. If you get a Google review with your name, I don't know how we're going to do this for the Jacobs yet. We haven't figured that out. We have Jacob, and Jacob. So how do we know which one? Do all three of them get like a third of a point when you're eating Cheetos? Did you print those Cheetos?
What?
No, he wasn't here for that part. We were talking about 3D printing Cheetos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can't do that with Gigablast.
That's why I was back in the studio.
Yeah, you cannot do that with Gigablast. No, sorry. But the vending machine apparently can 3D print Cheetos. All right, let's see. No problem, Mark. I hope you're not one of the flood victims that needs it. All right. As a government employee, we all do our time and submit to our supervisor for approval. I can't begin to imagine how much governmental time is used doing that every 2 weeks. Yeah, like I said, I was kind of said it tongue-in-cheek last week in the AfterSchrock. The stuff we're developing right now is the kind of system like when Illinois finally goes bankrupt, or when California finally goes bankrupt, and literally there's just no money. There's no money to run the stuff. and they have commitments because all the money that's coming in is going toward retirement commitments or something that has to be paid by law. So they have no money for any new administration or bureaucracy. This is what's going to come in, government by AI. It's going to say these are the rules. They're all programmed. They're all enforced uniformly. There's no bias. There's no bribery. There's no corruption. It sounds like a utopia. It won't be. Depends who makes the system. That's the short version, because AI can have biases if it's programmed to have biases. I'm not saying that people are there saying like, slow the application of Hispanic people down by 3 weeks. No, but biases like, how do we determine who the best employee to hire is? Do we determine it based on longevity or experience, or do we disqualify people that have facial tattoos, for example? That's an example of a bias in an interview when you have two equally qualified candidates and one is covered in full body tattoos and they're applying for a front desk position, when your customer base is a 50-plus demographic who tend to not have full body tattoos, which employee would you hire, given choice between two equally qualified candidates? That's a bias. There's no right or wrong answer there. There's a bias, right? So you got to program the machine to make those decisions. Well, then you're programming a bias into the machine. So AI can be biased, but AI does also enforce rules. It's far more efficient. Imagine if you're a contractor and you could get your building permit back, like you submit your plans online and it checks them and it instantly gives you your building permit. That's what AI could do. So this is the kind of stuff that we're working toward. We're doing it for ourselves first. We're going to build this for ourselves before we offer to build this for anybody else. But once we have it built for ourselves and we can quantify how much money we save through these AI initiatives, that then becomes a product in itself, first of all, that we could sell, we could do for very large companies. Because, of course, saving, a couple hours a week spread over like every Best Buy location, for example, would be a massive amount of savings. Those are things that we could do for other companies. These are things that will allow us to expand with lower capital requirements, which is the limiting factor we have on expansion right now, guys. We don't have a ton of debt. We don't have a ton of loans. But if we wanted, let's say the magic money fairy came down and said, "Hey, Thor, I want 30% of your business, and in exchange for that, I'm going to give you $10 million on the condition that you expand into 15 marketplaces within 5 years." I don't think we could reliably do that and protect our brand right now, because we just don't have the systems in place to handle that kind of expansion. But these systems are going to be designed to handle that kind of expansion. So in case the magic money fairy ever comes, we'll be ready. Should be ready for the magic money fairy in case we win that lotto jackpot. Next drawing is on what? Wednesday, I think. I don't know. All right. My Alexa just said it could not do what you asked. Sorry. Dang it, I said the A word again. Sorry about that. I'll stop trying to say the A word. There was a Burger King commercial a while back. And so what they did is they said, "We don't have enough time in a 30-second commercial to tell you all about the Whopper, but your Google Home can. So Google, tell me about the Whopper." And then the commercial was over. And everyone's Google Home unit would go off and like, "Whopper is a hamburger made by Burger King." And it starts like telling you all about the Whopper. The Whopper consists of a bun, a fire grill, a patty of meat, meat-like substance. So that's kind of funny. So yeah, it's like, tell me about this or tell me about that. All right. Can't wait for Schrock Innovations to come tomorrow. We're working fast, Eileen. We're trying hard. And yes, Carolyn, Round Rock, Texas. I actually, the other day, after the technician talked about you, Carolyn, I was like, Carolyn really wants us to open one in Round Rock, Texas. What exactly is the population of Round Rock, Texas? So then they Googled it. They're like, what is the population of Round Rock, Texas? So you see, we actually look into the things you say, Carolyn. And the population of Round Rock, Texas is about 150, 180,000 people, according to Google, which makes it about half the size of Lincoln, which means it could support a service center. We'd like to see it a little bit bigger before we put a service center there. But it didn't tell us about the surrounding metro areas or anything. So there could be a whole lot more people nearby. But yeah, we're working on it, all right? We have some ideas right now. Crazy idea. I shouldn't even say anything about this. This is an idea in Thor Brain that has not passed through the lovely Kimberly filter yet, that hasn't even attempted to sprout roots into reality yet. Okay? A thought occurs to me. We're a Midwestern company. We want to spread in a geographically controlled way. We don't want to pop a service center in like San Francisco. That, how are we going to support that possibly? We want to get something. We moved it. We went from Lincoln to Omaha, which was an hour away, which was a challenge. Now we've got Omaha locked down, so let's move 3 hours away to Des Moines. See how that goes. Then, maybe we could have a 3 hour bubble around Omaha now. Okay. And then that gets us into the Kansas City area a little bit. And now that we're there, we have a much larger market in Kansas City. Now that we've got that going on and everything is stable, maybe we push to a 5 hour bubble. You see where I'm going with this? How could the biggest problem we have, I mentioned, is capital in this expansion, because every single time we grow, we have to rent, we have to lease a service center, we have to pay for internet, power, advertising, marketing in the community, just all the stuff that goes into, of course, employees. You have to build out the service center, which costs between $40,000 and $100,000 a shop. And the signage alone is $10,000 a sign to put on the side of the building. Most buildings require at least 2 or 3 signs now, one front, back at least. So we're talking a significant cost to expand. How could we reduce that cost? How did Best Buy reduce that cost? Well, how did Geek Squad get so many locations? Well, Best Buy bought them and put a Geek Squad in every Best Buy, because Best Buy already had those investments made. They already had the building, they already had the internet, they already have the power, they already have the gas and the heat and the AC and everything else. So putting a little Geek Squad counter in there was kind of an afterthought, right? So obviously we're not going to go to Best Buy. And Target did a little experiment where they had the Geek Squad in there for a while. It didn't work out. So I bet they're not too hot on doing anything like that again. Is there a Midwestern company, somebody that we could actually pick up the phone and call and find a human being that we could talk to, that has locations spread throughout the Midwest, like a lot of them, say like 250 locations? We wouldn't need to be in all of them, because this particular company has several locations in the same municipalities. So we'd only want maybe one in each city to start, right? But how could we do that? And the thought occurs to me that there are Hy-Vees pretty much across all of Nebraska, Iowa. They're all up. They're in that 5-hour bubble. Hy-Vee. And Hy-Vee is doing all kinds of weird, crazy things you wouldn't think. They have clothing stores into some of their Hy-Vees now. Not all of them, some of them. They have the bistro where you can go in and actually, sit down and play Trivial Pursuit and have a drink. You can get a mimosa and go grocery shopping. Grocery stores are rapidly becoming. This Christmas they were a toy store. They had toys in the aisles. So it's rapidly becoming pretty commonplace to have these kind of. They have banks now inside the grocery stores. You go to Walmart, they have haircut places in there. They have vision centers. Why not a computer repair store? Why not? I don't know how that would work, because we're not a huge draw. So we're not going to draw like hundreds of people into the grocery store like a bank might. We're going to draw maybe 10 or 12 people a day. I don't know. Maybe there are some side benefits. For example, every company has an IT cost. So having an IT service center that is getting free rent and internet from you might be a great trade-off when you want to put a new point of sale system and you need someone to come in and hook up the computers and the scanners and everything, and you've got a stable full of technicians that can do the job that are in your back pocket. That can be a big benefit, right? So the thought occurs to me, I've been thinking this for some time. The challenging, the negative side to this, that doesn't really fit our brand. Our brand, some of the things we look for in a building when we open a service center, we must have front door parking. I really don't want to make my customers go get a shopping cart to carry their computer into the service center, like you have to do at Geek Squad, like you used to have to do at Circuit City, like you have to do at any cheap computer repair place that doesn't pay a lot of rent. They have really poor parking scenarios. One of the big things when we're moving our Lincoln service center is we don't want any steps anymore. We don't want any steps. So you just walk up to the door, and the door opens either automatically or has a button or something, and you come in and boom, there we go. So that was one requirement that we had. Another requirement is snow removal we have to have handicap spots nearby. They have to be cleared at all times. We want front door parking, and we want our own space. So we're not trying to be the guy who comes in on the cheap and do this. So coming in on the cheap into 20 different locations at one time for a Hy-Vee, for example, would be an interesting thing. Now, what if we did our Des Moines expansion that way? What if we said, let's do a test. Let's put a Schrock in a Hy-Vee in Des Moines where we've already been advertising, where we have something to bring to the table. Like we have customers who talk to us on Facebook about how they want to come in. Let's have a big event where you can come in and get a free maintenance checkup. You drop it off at Hy-Vee, and the challenge is that that's going to be a very small service center, so it's going to be like 5 bench spots. That could be bad. So little things like that. Maybe we have the Schrock Innovation Semi pull up at a mobile service center. I don't know, stupid stuff. That's like the ambulance on steroids. But anyway, so these are the ideas that roll through my head. None of them have been filtered yet. But if you know somebody at Hy-Vee, and that if I stumbled onto a nugget of gold there somewhere, have them give me a call. All right, there's a Sims version for Schrock Innovations. That would be funny. Yeah, if those of you who don't know what The Sims is, The Sims is a virtual reality game kind of where you have like fake people that have needs and you have to like fill their needs on the computer. It's like having computer kids, really, except they get hit by tornadoes and stuff. You might want to hold off on the Denver store then. If drug paraphernalia clothing is a problem. Yeah. Let's see. The Ultimate Upgrade machine is a good machine for video editing. Does it have a good graphics card and other essential components? All right, so the Ultimate Upgrade desktop would be the one you'd go with for this. It has a 120 gigabyte hard drive in it, so it's going to be too small for serious video editing. You're going to need to expand the size of the hard drive. One of the biggest misconceptions of graphic editing for video is that you need a graphics card. Graphics cards are for rendering, and not rendering video. What I mean by rendering frame per second video games. Video editing, the most important component is the hard drive. You want to be rendering your video to the hard drive and have that hard drive be a solid state. So you're going to invest more money on a much larger solid state. You're going to need at least a terabyte. And then once you have that larger solid state, then you'd be able to do all the video editing. It would work like a champ. The Ryzen 3 processor has integrated Vega graphics, which is AMD's premier graphic thing. It's not the same as having a Vega graphics card, of course, but it's better than the Intel integrated graphics that all the other laptops come with. So yes, you could absolutely edit video on this computer and it would run like a champ. You're going to want to get the Ryzen model desktop with a 1 terabyte hard drive. I would recommend also getting a secondary larger hard drive, like a 2 terabyte backup drive, to use as a media storage drive or a backup hard drive, or maybe both. All right. Oh, Hy-Vee. Sorry, nobody knows what a Hy-Vee is. If you're from Florida, think like Publix. It's kind of the same thing. They're a massive grocery store chain that are throughout the Midwest. They have 250 stores plus. They own gas stations. They have their own fuel pump gas stations. They partnered with Casey's. If you're familiar with Casey's, Hy-Vee got their Fuel Saver program, was originally Casey's program, so you can actually use your Fuel Saver card at Casey's. So stuff like that. Thor V. Yeah, I know. Like I said, they would probably want us to pay some kind of rent. I'm sure that they don't give store space away for free because it costs money, and our draw isn't exactly huge. We're not going to be bringing in hundreds of people into Hy-Vee. But on the other hand, being able to drop off your computer for a computer repair while you do your grocery shopping, especially as computers become more portable, might not be such a crazy idea. So you never know. That, and it has some spin-off potential too, and because with Amazon entering the grocery space and a company like Schrock working on artificial intelligence, having a company located in your business that specializes in AI when you're trying to compete with Amazon grocery stores that check people out based on camera view. Literally, you walk into an Amazon convenience store. There are no people in the store, or there's one person in the store. And you walk up to the shelf. To get in the store, you have to have an Amazon account set up with a payment method. You walk in the door, you take your basket, you grab your eggs, you grab your bread, you grab your milk, you grab your candy, you put it in the basket, you go out the door. You put it in a bag, you walk out the door. There's no checkout. There are cameras mounted everywhere that are watching what you pick up and what you put back. So they know what's in the basket when you walk out the door, and they charge you for it. Now, it's not a perfect system. They're still testing this out. There are YouTube videos online of how to steal from these stores, like the way you can trick the cameras. Sometimes people get charged for things that they put back on the shelf, so it's not perfect yet. But we are living in a world, guys, where Kroger, the grocery chain Kroger, they own Baker's here in the Midwest. Kroger is using autonomous vehicle grocery delivery. They have their own driverless vehicles that are capable of delivering groceries. No joke. There are Amazon, I mentioned, bought Whole Foods, and now they have the Prime Pantry thing. But the problem with Prime Pantry is everything is stupid expensive because it's shipped. But what if you could pick your stuff up at the grocery store? Hy-Vee, the grocery store we're talking about now, does delivery. So grocery stores are starting to deliver your groceries now, which is a kind of a new thing. And eventually it'll go autonomous. And that last mile is the most expensive mile. Getting things home to the customer is always the most expensive mile. So anytime you can get somebody to come into your business, you're actually saving a ton of money, because if that customer was going to use Hy-Vee delivery, but they needed a computer repair, so they brought their computer in and said, okay, well, we're going to bring our computer in, and we may as well pick up our groceries while we're here. We'll do a call ahead order that we'll pick up, like what you do at Target. That is mondo cheaper than Hy-Vee having to deliver the groceries. Mondo is actually a quantitative word. It means a lot. So anyway, so like I said, weird ideas that bounce around in the Thor brain probably will never happen. But if Hy-Vee came along and said, hey, Thor, we love that idea. Do you want to test it? I would probably say, well, I know you guys have stores in Des Moines, so why don't we test it there? Because we already have advertising in Des Moines rolling for a year. People in Des Moines know who we are already. Yeah, the only thing really holding us back is the fact that I can only build one service center at a time because the Thor brain is limited. But if I already had a physical space and I was, instead of building an entire building, we were building like a kiosk, basically, like a facade for the AfterSchrock Innovations little bay, and we would have 5 or 10 bench spots that we could work on, really compact, 1 or 2 employees there at a given point in time. Yeah, why not? Why not? Support.com does this, where if you take your computer to OfficeMax for computer repair work, the guys at OfficeMax don't actually fix it. They put it on the bench, they hook it up to the internet, and they connect it to support.com. Support.com does the repair. If there's hardware that's bad, they tell the guys there to replace the hardware. They do the screw monkeys. They take the screws out, they put the hardware in, they connect it back to support.com to see if it's fixed. We could literally do the same thing with kiosks. We could have 5 or 10 bench spots. We could have 1 employee on hand to handle customer interactions. You hook the computers up, we remote into the computers, we fix them, and then when they're fixed, it's done. And so you get that same level of AfterSchrock service using fully trained AfterSchrock employees, while we have the junior technicians in the new locations receiving their training on the job, basically. So these are all models that we've thought about using, guys. So it's pretty cool stuff. All right, last call for questions. I got to get going. Let's see, what do I got going on today? Oh yeah, I got to hook up GigaBlast. That's what I got to do. So last call for questions. All right, not seeing any. So yes, service centers right now, safe upgrade. Make sure you get 1 copy for every computer you want to upgrade. If you're going to do the ultimate upgrade, time is running out for that. You want to make sure you get in on that deal before the end of the month. I'm looking for suggestions for our update, or for our sale next month. I've got a couple ideas myself, but I'm always looking for your suggestions. If you have something that you would like to see go on sale at AfterSchrock, something that's never been on sale before, or something that maybe you're looking to purchase, go ahead and give me a suggestion. The external hard drive sale was actually a customer suggestion, and it was a very popular sale. We literally sold out. I think if you combine all of the AfterSchrock modular, including solid states, or excuse me, modular hard drives that we have left in the company together into one place, it's like 6 that are in saleable condition. A lot of them we opened in the shop for use, but we're not going to sell those because we used them. So literally, we had the design done for the USB-C version of this, but our new AfterSchrock modular storage, now that we're sold out, we may as well make a new one, right? So the AfterSchrock modular storage device is going to get a little bit of an upgrade. Don't worry, guys. You that have USB 3.0, you got the fastest thing. This thing's not going to be any faster on your computer. It's going to look exactly the same, but it's going to have a USB-C connector. That's the new connector, the Type-C connector that's going to be in everything going forward. You're starting to see that in all of our laptops. It'll soon be in every desktop too. But the USB-C connector actually offers a connection 10 times faster than what you can get on USB 3. But if you don't have the USB-C connector, there's a little adapter in the box that you can use to hook it up, just like you can hook up your current modular hard drive at the same speed. So it's, for those of you who don't have USB-C ports, it's the exact same thing. For those of you who do have USB-C ports, it's an even faster backup than what we used to have. And so those are, you expect to see those. They're in production right now. It takes about 30 days for those to be manufactured, and then once the manufacturing and the branding and the boxes are made and everything, and that's done, another couple weeks to ship it. So I would say probably by May we'll have them in the service centers. They're kind of cool. But yeah, so if you have suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, it's been great having you on the show today. Thanks for tuning into the Aftershock, and we'll see you next week for another edition of Compute This.